Jimmy Connors to serve from the northern end, centre court, Kooyong, Melbourne, Australia.
Foul. Out. Love 15.
Of interest to people in America will be this statement of fact. Since Jimmy Connors arrived in Australia, he has made a multitude of friends. More so on this visit.
$15 all. Out. 30-15. Foul. Out. 30 all.
Frank Sedgman, you've been through many big finals. You could cut the air down there with a knife.
A lot of tenseness down there, Mike, and Jimmy seems to be fairly tense. He's not coming in behind his second serve. He's trying to get in behind his first serve.
$30-40.
Superb return from Newcombe's forehand, one of the best forehands in the game, and he clobbered that one beautifully. 30-40, game break point.
Yes. Foul. Advantage server.
Well, the pattern of play during the past week is that when he gets that short ball on that double-hander, he slides it right down into that backhand side, and we saw that example just then. Very difficult shot to handle.
See a lot of those today.
Foul. Out. Game, Connors. He leads 1 game to love.
I love Connors. Newcombe now will take up service.
This will be the vital part of the game, if, as we will see when Newcombe serves. If he can put the pressure on Jimmy by keeping that first ball deep and hard, not allowing Jimmy to take over the attacking role with his return of serve.
The crowd here today is out of this world, really. The capacity at Kooyong seated is approximately 11,500 to 11,700. With the additional people in boxes on the court side that you can see there, it is estimated the crowd is between 13 and 14,000.
John Newcombe to serve.
And thousands literally were turned away from this highly publicised match, a match that everybody throughout the world, I'm sure, has been looking forward to. Newcombe, Australia, Connors, America.
Queued up outside the gates at 5 o'clock this morning. Newcombe serving from the northern end, centre court, Kooyong.
Fault. Double fault. Love 15. Fault.
Tremendous reach of Connors. Claws the ball back so often on good services.
Out. Love 30.
Well, that's the example of the shot that we're going to see from Jimmy Connors. He hits the ball terrifically hard off that double-handed side.
$15.30.
Great serve, John.
All.
Been the pattern of this tournament, Newcombe serving himself out of trouble time and time again.
Let. $40.30. Game, Newcombe, 1 game all.
Not only a big serve, Frank Sedgman, it's an intelligent one.
Well, he's swinging that very wide out onto that double-handed side. 4 great serves in when he was down love 30.
$15 love. Out. 30 love. Out. 40 love.
Slice double-hander from Connors upset the rhythm of Newcombe. 40 love.
Out. Game, Connors. He leads 2 games to 1.
2-1 lead to Jimmy Connors.
There's one person in America who I think could well be watching this match. I refer to the one and only Rocket, Rod Laver. Rod, if you're watching this match, we send you greetings here from Australia. Frank Sedgman, Michael Williamson, and myself, Colin Long. We wish you well, and we wish you every success in your match at Las Vegas, Caesars Palace, when you are scheduled to play against Jimmy Connors in early February. Johnny Newcombe has wanted this match against Jimmy Connors to prove his worth. Here today, we're going to have the opportunity to see Connors playing Newcombe in a match that has all the ingredients of sensational tennis.
Colin, in the courtside introduction, I could hear ooh from the crowd when I read out the scores of Newcombe's last 2 matches. 2 5-setters. He won 10-8 in the 5th against Jeff Masters and 11-9 in the semi against Tony Roach yesterday.
Both players getting a good hand from the crowd.
Newcombe came, he was 2-5 down, wasn't he, in the semi yesterday?
In the 5th set,
Yes,
yes.
Right,
a magnificent recovery out of this, out of all tennis.
Let.
Save 4 match points on the way.
That's right, and didn't realise it.
Net court umpire operating, full complement of very accomplished umpires, carefully selected for such an occasion.
Newcombe serving from the southern end.
$15 love.
No flamboyant activity from Jimmy Connors, completely mind on the job.
Great return.
15 all. Fault.
Connors, the ability to attack a powerful service with vicious attack in return.
Double fault. 15-30.
His second.
Ah, yes, ma'am.
30 all.
Jimmy having a little bit of trouble with his shorts. Now he's ready.
$40-30.
Unlike previous matches, his shirt is out and he couldn't care less.
Fault. Out. Game, Newcombe. 2 games all.
Well, the question the experts are asking around the tennis stadium here prior to this match, and probably still asking, 2 mammoth 5-setters in 2 days. Can Newcombe stand up to another long match here?
Out. Love 15. Out. 15 all.
Jimmy, in contrast, Collins only dropped 1 set in the entire tournament, and that was to Raz Reid in the quarter-final.
His draw was a little bit easier, I think, than Johnny's. A lot easier, in fact, and he went through it very comfortably. The attack going to Newcombe's backhand.
Out. 15-30.
Oh, lovely volley.
30 all.
Well, 4 services, 4 to the backhand of Newcombe, and Newcombe's backhand has won 2 points, lost 2 points. There's going to be an avalanche of shots to that corner from Jimmy Connors.
Fault. $40-30.
Doesn't worry about staying back on that second serve. Can back it up with such great ground strokes.
Serve has enough penetration to stop the attack, doesn't it, too?
Out. Game, Connors. He leads 3 games to 2.
One of the most amazing features so far, Frank, is the service of Connors, because we've been complimenting him on serving kick services time after time through the earlier rounds. And in fact, he served aces with them at times, but really I've hardly noticed a kick service in these first 3 service games he's had. He's stepped up his pace, his accuracy is unquestioned, and Newcombe is standing the barrage well, but at this stage games have gone with service. Much more power from Connors.
Well, we're trying to compare his form with last year and the improvement he's made. And the two things that I've found watching him is that he can now kick that ball wide onto the right-hand side of any of the right-handers in that first court. He can kick the ball out wide, which makes it a very difficult shot for the right-hander to play. And also he uses the lob a lot more and more effectively than what he used to. But we haven't seen him lob at all in this game because he's still trying to get the return of serve going against Newcombe. But I'm sure as the match progresses and he gets into a pattern and a rhythm with the return of serve, we'll see a few lobs thrown up.
He'll do that because Newcombe has a strength when he gets close into the net, and one of the jobs of Connors will be to create some uncertainty in John Newcombe's net attack, and the way to do that, of course, is throw up some topspin lobs to force Johnny Newcombe back. At this stage, even Steven, because Newcombe has service at 2-3 in the first set.
Love.
Newcombe coming in and sitting on that attempted cross-court shot of Jimmy Connors.
Love. Fault.
Oh.
30-15.
Newcombe having to work out where to serve that second service when there's not so much power. Does he risk which side?
Fault.
Any ball that Newcombe served onto the left-handed side, Jimmy's quickly dispatched for a winner. Well,
30-all. Fault. .30.
Connors in two minds, cross court or down the line, and he in effect played a nothing shot, Frank, when it got down to tours.
the ball was a little slow in getting to him then.
Game, Newcombe, 3 games all.
Well, Newcombe's been criticised for some months now of doing too much talking, not enough tennis playing. His form has been down, but he's sharp there today so far.
.15 love.
We would expect John Newcombe's service to frighten Jimmy's winning style.
.15 all. Fault. .30-15.
Both walking up to have a look at that spot.
We saw one of those in the girls' match in a very similar spot to that. Frank do a vicious kick. There may be just ironically in what is a beautiful tennis court, there might be that one spot. 30-15 Connors, 3-all.
(40-15).
And Newcombe has a practice backhand. He knows darn well that that's where the concentration is going to come, and it's got to work that backhand for him to win.
(40-30).
Somebody in the crowd making a little smart comment, which Jimmy didn't greatly appreciate. At 40-30, 3-all.
Fault. Yes.
Newcombe mounting a very strong challenge now at 3-all and juice.
Fault. Advantage server.
Did Newcombe think it was out, or was he beaten by that?
I think he was hoping it was going out, but it landed right on the baseline, and then he acknowledged that it was good.
Fault. Game, Connors. He leads 4 games to 3.
The irony of tennis, Frank. Newcombe then noticeably jumped round to set up the forehand and said to Jimmy Connors, go on, have a go at that. Connors obliged, did a 3/4 pace kick service, nothing marvellous, and then Newcombe was mortified when he played a bad forehand into the net. So there's no real evidence yet of where this match will go. The score, Connors 4 games to 3, but Newcombe serving next, and Newcombe has been serving well. So the pattern of the play is only that it's tight, with no one seemingly getting a break. If there has been any odd weakness, I think it's the 2 or 3 slow balls that have come back to Connors on the baseline, and he's missed. I'm noticing, Frank, he's tipping water. He soaks the handle of his racket, the whole handle of that racket, in water before he starts, and as I was watching, he had a glass or a jug of water and he tipped it over the handle and now is drying it off.
You may be interested to know too that down there are quite a few flies on the centre court today, and you notice Jimmy frequently brushing at his face. Undoubtedly he's got some sort of repellent on him, but there are quite a few, probably more flies on the centre court today than we've had throughout the tournament.
Well, it'll be our hottest day for the tournament, Mike.
That's funny, Frank, isn't that grip? Why would he do that? To try and make it softer?
Some players do that, and he perspires a lot in the hands, and he's probably got some sort of rosin on there, and I think that it probably gives him a better grip.
Newcombe down 3-4 in the first, serving from the southern end.
Fault. (15-love).
In his semi-final against Roach yesterday, Newcombe got 7 net cords in the first 3 sets.
Yes,
that's right.
Nearly broke Tony Roach's heart.
Oh, great return.
15-all. 30-15.
Newcombe has been struggling to find form with that serve, but in the last match against Roach, he suddenly got his rhythm back, and now he's serving really well.
Fault. Out. 40-15.
Jimmy felt he could have played on a different type of shot then. He had a real hit at that one.
Fault.
That's the shot he should play. That's out though.
Out. Game, Newcombe. 4 games all.
Best exponent we've seen of that shot is Guillermo Vilas from Argentina, who won the Masters here a couple of weeks ago. He plays that beautifully, doesn't he?
Yes. Connors has got a good topspin lob. I thought he'd make that one the way he hit it, but too long. So it's 4-all, first set.
Connors serving.
Love 15. Love 30.
Unnecessary shot by Connors. He turned that into a flash shot. Paid a penalty at love 30.
Fault.
First sign of a break at 4-all and love 30. Connors to Newcombe.
$15.30.
Very intelligent play from Newcombe. He's starting to use this lob as to his advantage. Jimmy was a bit uncertain on that smash, and of course the one before it got over his head. He had to run back and get it.
Fixes that.
30-all.
Second ace to Jimmy. They both serve 2 aces.
Another one.
40-30.
3 to Connors now.
Fault. Out. Game, Connors. He leads 5 games to 4. New balls, please.
We mentioned before the size of the crowd here. For the benefit of our viewers in the United States of America, the day here in Melbourne is a glorious one. The flags are moving out, but it is not a hard, vicious wind. The crowd, the sky is cloudless. It's a beautiful blue sky. There's no worries of inclement weather here in Melbourne. The ideal conditions for tennis, the breeze. The stadium at Kooyong is very similar to the stadium at Forest Hills. It's a horseshoe-style stadium with a low embankment on the left-hand side as we are facing the court. Very similar indeed to the Westside Tennis Club Stadium. It seats about 11,500 to 12,000 people, and today we have an audience in the stands of nearly 13,500 people, jam-packed in ideal conditions, with the weather not that hot that the players should be adversely affected. Only the fatigue of a long match would be the problem, not the heat, not the weather.
And many thousands turned away too.
Queues were lined up at 5 a.m. this morning, and that is true. As Michael Williamson has said, thousands were turned away from this match, which has become the talking point of the whole of Australia, and we believe throughout the tennis playing world.
Oh, undoubtedly. Newcombe to serve. Down 4-5 in the first. New ball serving from the northern end.
Foul. Out. 15 love.
No players had a point to break service yet. There's been love 30 once on Connors, and Connors had 15-30 on Newcombe's serve.
Love. Love.
It's trifle lucky, but Newcombe had that cold and it would have been terrible for him to miss it. 30 love. He's now gone to 40 love. 3 game points to level at 5 all.
Foul.
Something in the eye of John Newcombe, just temporarily. He's right.
Yeah.
40-15.
That was the lightly rolled lob on the double-handed wing, Frank. We're expecting to play that sort of shot on the other hand side just as easily.
Oh, too good.
40-30. Out. Game Newcombe, 5 games all.
Should it go to 6 all, of course, the tiebreaker operates, Frank, and the first 4 sets of a 5-set match, correct?
That's correct. The way Newcombe's holding his serve, it could be a possibility. Same with Jimmy. He's only been behind that once. Love 30 in the last game.
Love 15.
Gee, there are some tactics being used down there.
Good point.
Well, that was good play by Newcombe, and he's got away with that shot about 4 times now.
Belated good shot from Connors.
Out. 15 all.
Instant tennis lessons from John Newcombe. Get your side round and do it.
Out. 30-15.
Very good attacking shot from Connors there, right down the line, pretty deep. Made it very difficult for Newcombe to do anything with that ball.
Great return.
30-all.
Of the two players, Newcombe is threatening a little bit more on service than Connors has been able to threaten on his against Newcombe.
Out. 40-30. Fault. Yes.
The speed these fellows play, the importance of their shoes, the gripping capabilities of their shoes, so important, isn't it?
Well, he slipped as he took those first couple of steps in, and he couldn't change direction at all. I thought he would have had the ball covered, but he just couldn't change direction.
Try again. He'll come in again, I'll bet. Here he'll come. What a rally, huh?
Beautiful.
What a rally.
He's had a seat in the linesman's knee.
Advantage server.
Very smart cookie is Mr. Connors. He's taking a lot of time by clowning around the court, and all the time breath's coming back. He's no fool, is he?
No, well, he had to do a lot of running. To run in and back 3 times then can take it out of you a bit.
Yeah, but he got away with it beautifully. The umpire never stopped him, but he's taken a long rest.
Fault. Out. Yes.
Connors finding this game very tough indeed. 5-all, first set on service. It's deuce.
Out.
Chance for the breakthrough.
Advantage receiver.
First one, Frank, isn't it?
That's
Yes.
This is the first break point of the match. And does Newcombe want it?
Game, Newcombe. He leads 6 games to 5.
Well, well, well.
Good tactics on Newcombe's part with that lobbing. Seems to have found the answer to the way that Jimmy takes that early ball and comes in. Doesn't go for the big passing shot, just throws up that high lob. Well, fortunately, he's thrown it up very well, and they've been very close to the baseline. And I think it was that point that actually won him that game then.
We commented, Frank, that of the two players, it did appear that Newcombe was applying a fraction the more pressure when receiving service of the two players, and in that game Newcombe's ground stroke stood up very well indeed, and I heartily endorse your comment. Those lobs, whilst Jimmy Connors laughed it off a little bit, we noticed he took a long time. He used every ploy in the game to give himself a breather. And the crowd now, of course, logically, Newcombe would be the favoured man on the court with this Australian audience. But there's a very friendly hand for Jimmy. You can't wish for better, and the crowd is lapping it up.
It's pretty near 50-50, Colin.
Yes, well, it's hard with an Australian crowd not to be a little bit Australia's way, but still, great crowd. They're a very tennis-minded audience here in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
Newcombe leading 6-5, and the first serving from the southern end.
Love 15.
Thank you, says Jimmy Connors.
Well, he races for everything. He gives nothing away. He never concedes a point till it is won. Love 15, 6-5.
Out. 15 all.
Oh.
30-15.
Newcombe's third ace. They both have served 3 aces.
$40-15.
2 set points to Newcombe.
Fault.
There's the first set to Newcombe.
Game and first set to Newcombe, 7 games to 5.
Some fool in the crowd. Unfortunate, but I suppose crowd about 14,000. You've got to get one fool.
Love.
Jimmy's been stung by the loss of that first set.
You took the word right out of my mouth. He's nettled and he's angry.
Love. Love. Fault. Game, Connors. He leads 1 game to love.
Newcombe showing that the way to beat Connors is that got to keep that pressure on serve, and he's been serving extremely well, mainly serving wide to Connors' double-hander, and he's been doing it so well he's been placing that ball almost on the line. Connors hasn't been able to get settled down with his return of serve, and Newcombe's unsettled him by the way that he's also hit his first volley. Newcombe's renowned to have one of the best first volleys in the game, and he's rarely missed that first volley, kept the pressure right on, and even in that last service game, Jim went for a couple of those lobs. The volleys were so good and deep that Connors just couldn't quite handle that lob.
Newcombe needed that first set. If, as we suspect, he could be weary after his marathon 5-setters of the last 2 days. The one yesterday was one of the greatest matches we've ever seen at Kooyong, and we've seen some fine matches. We think of Tony Trabert playing Lou Hode. What year was that, Frank? About
53.
53. We think of many years ago, Donald Budge playing against Gottfried von Cram here at this course. Laver and Gonzalez. Newcombe weathered that match, but he needed that first set, I think, to give him a lift, a winning lift possibly even in this match. He now serves love 1, second set.
Out. Love 15.
The moment John Newcombe's serve loses sting to that wide to that side, Frank, he's going to be into trouble. He must keep power.
He must keep that serve going out very wide
and hard. Sensational return.
Love 30.
No time to lose service. Newcombe realises that only too well.
Just clipped the baseline. I thought that ball was going to go out there, and Jimmy acknowledged that the ball was good.
Yes, Newcombe.
30 all.
We've seen him do this for the last 10 years of his career. Be down in trouble and bring out that big service. 30 all at love 1.
Fault.
Sheer reflexes. Got that point then for Connors. Reflexes.
Foul. Double foul.
Way.
Game. Connors. He leads 2 games to love.
Heading for another 5-setter.
Well, we said he was stung at the start of that second set, and that was a great service game, capped off, unfortunately for Newcombe, with a double fault, his third of the match. 2 love, Connors trailing 1 set to love down.
Foul. Love.
Well, there's an object lesson to any young player to watch the way Connors moves in after that serve. He's very quick.
All.
The wail of the Banshees. Connors beaten on that point. 15 all.
15-30.
No, he's good.
30 all.
So is Newcombe.
30-40.
Beautiful service, my boy.
Yes. Foul.
Newcombe had, in effect, conceded that point, but fault is called, and it's deuce at 2-love.
Out. Advantage. Server. Foul.
Right.
Game, Connors. He leads 3 games to love.
And
Out. 30-15.
He's got some funny mannerisms, hasn't he? Newcombe from the southern end.
Foul.
Ooh.
30 all.
He's playing some great shots, Connors.
If Newcombe doesn't get that first volley deep, then it opens the court up for Connors.
Oh, too good. Fantastic.
30-40. Yes.
Newcombe's 5th ace. Connors has served 3.
Out. Advantage server. Foul. Yes.
Newcombe in 2 minds whether to let that one go. It was about chest high. Probably would have gone in, but he didn't make up his mind soon enough. Oh, great serve.
Advantage server.
6 aces to Newcombe.
Out. Game, Newcombe. Connors leads 3 games to 1.
There's no coasting there down there on the centre court, is there? Connors to serve from the northern end.
15 love.
Newcombe took the first set 7-5. Connors leading 3-1 in the second. And 15 love.
Love.
He gets down behind that volley beautifully, Frank. Did you notice then?
Really good shot across court.
Beautiful.
Out. 30-15.
Didn't come off that tactic, did it?
Well, he was trying to move Newcombe around, but Newcombe produced a good forehand down the line.
Fault.
The mover got moved.
That's right.
3-1, 30-15. Connors to Newcombe.
Out. 40-15.
That was a tremendous attacking shot. He pushed it into Newcombe's forehand, and Newcombe couldn't do anything at all but trying to pull it down the line, and it was being covered by Connors. Fine tennis. And he goes to 40-15. 2 points now to hold service and have a 4-1 lead second set.
Game, Connors. He leads 4 games to 1.
Knew he'd come back, Frank, but I wasn't quite sure just how good he could come back after that first set when Newcombe played at his best to break through at 6-5 and go to 7-5.
Well, we saw him do it against Raz Reid. He lost a set against Raz Reid by playing a very flashy type of game on his service game at about 6-5. But he went for a rest and came out and he just went bang, bang, bang and 6-love. He got very upset by losing that set. It looked as though he's feeling the same way here now. When he lost that first set, he's stepped up his game, something great here.
Our colleague with Frank Sedgman and myself is Michael Williamson, and Michael Williamson has the privilege of handling the courtside announcements throughout the whole of this tournament, introducing the players, etc. Michael, when you were down on the court, what was the atmosphere like before you came up for this match?
Well, as I said just after I got up here, I mentioned to Frank, Colin, you could cut the air with a knife down there. Really, you know, the tension as such. It's the match the tennis world has been waiting for, Newcombe Connors. Newcombe looked possibly a little more relaxed than Jimmy. Jimmy a trifle white of face, taut. But well, look, I said this yesterday, to take a set from Jimmy Connors is like punching Muhammad Ali in the nose. Trouble's going to come your way immediately. No, it's a great atmosphere down there, Colin.
Was Jimmy giving any quips to you this time? Generally, during the week he's been giving a few little side comments.
That's right. No, there were no comments. Newt just nodded and said hi.
Foul. 15 love.
Well, I know someone who'll be interested in watching this match, and that's my old pal Pancho Segura.
Foul.
Segu
Yes, Segu's had a lot to do with Jimmy's development.
and Gonzalez likewise. So the two Panchos. We hope you're watching Gonzalez and Segura.
Out. 30 love.
Newcombe takes advantage of the handkerchief activity to quietly walk back and get himself an extra 10 seconds reprieve before serving. He leads 30 love to hold service, but he trails 1-4 in the second set, with Connors taking with Newcombe the first set in at 7-5.
Out. 40 love. Foul. Out. 40-15.
Seventh column.
Game, Newcombe. Connors leads 4-2.
Well, any ace is a good one, but he does bring out some great serves at critical moments. And just to wind that game up, down the centre, and a yard clear of Jimmy Connors. Great serve.
Connors now to take up service from the southern end, leading 4-2 in the second.
Let.
The seventh game we've struck now in this second set.
Foul.
To the backhand. He's running him this time, Frank.
Out.
Great rally.
15 love.
A tactical victory, I think, to Johnny Newcombe.
I'll have to stay back here.
And Connors knows that he worked very hard in that game, that point.
I stay back now. I'm going to keep doing it, okay? And I keep coming in then.
Ah, dear.
Foul.
Newcombe happy to go to the baseline. Well behind, but will rally. Up it goes.
Love.
Jimmy's making Newcombe stretch quite a lot on those baseline rallies. Even though Newcombe's getting a few lobs up, he's working pretty hard.
Both working hard, Frank.
I think of the two rallies, one to Connors and one to Newcombe, don't you reckon, on energy?
Foul. Love.
I reckon you can sense it. That Newcombe said, right, I've given you the run out, now I'll try and attack while you're puffing. And he missed his attacking shot.
Foul. .15.
The powerful Newcombe harnessing power and using touch, delicate tactics to try and break Connor's routine.
Game, Connors. He leads 5 games to 2.
One service break, and as we saw in the first set, that was all. Was it one service break or 3 in the first set? Can you remember that?
One
break?
service break. It's 6-5.
That was the only one, wasn't it?
It's the only time that anyone had a chance to break serve. The only time anyone held a point to break serve.
That's quite right.
Connors, of course, was 30 all, and Newcombe got that lob over his head. Remember, he got 3 lobs over his head. But this is good tactics on Newcombe's part. This is the only thing that I feel that he can do to break up Connor's game. I felt when Connors arrived out here, he hadn't had a lot of match play. He hadn't played a tournament since South Africa. I practiced with him a bit, and I felt his condition probably wasn't as good as it could be. He used to get puffed and used to blow a bit after you ran him around a bit. And as you said earlier, he hasn't had a lot of tough matches. We were expecting him to play Phil Dent in the quarter-final, and we thought Dent would give him a reasonably good match, but Dent got beaten on the way. We also felt that if Alexander got through, Alexander would test him out, but Creeley beat Alexander, and Jimmy just handled Creeley without much effort. He was able to lob Creeley out of the match.
I'm just wondering whether Newcombe can slow himself down in these rallies and then at a given moment come back into full charge, because basically he's got to power his way through, but he's got to run the other fellow around, break up the rhythm, then go on the attack. And you know, it's pretty hard. It's like a horse sprinting and slowing and sprinting and slowing. The score, Newcombe serving at 2 games to 5. Second set, 1 set in hand to Newcombe, 7 games to 5. A packed capacity audience at Kooyong.
Foul. Love 15. Out. 15 all. Thirty 15. Foul. Forty 15. Foul. 40-30.
That was the sort of shot that Roach was playing against Newcombe yesterday. He was chipping that backhand very wide. Newcombe had a lot of ground to cover that volley all the time.
Foul.
Wonderful tennis.
Game, Newcombe. Connors leads 5 games to 3. New balls, please.
That adds to the probability of Connors holding service. New balls. And this service action he's using today, very few kickers on the first services, as we've seen during the week. Mainly a fast slice service which will slide to the backhand side of Newcombe, and the new balls will give it that extra zip off the court. It will make it harder. But Newcombe at the other end, you can see him dancing, jogging, getting himself warmed up and worked up at the same time.
Connor serving from the northern end, leading 5-3 in the second. Newcombe took the first 7-5.
Foul. Love 15.
Isn't that a beautiful shot?
Yes, sir.
15 all.
And that was the reason why the crowd had to be cleared from behind the baseline wide on that eastern side. See the way the crowd's been cut back so as to give room to these players to manoeuvre.
Australian flies.
Out. 30-15.
Looked like a last-minute change of mind from the lob then, Frank, to suddenly a sluggo backhand, and with Connors camped at the net, very little chance for Newt from behind the baseline.
Foul. all.
Surprising, 2 very weak approach shots there from Jimmy.
Anxious.
First, on the first point, he very weak shot into the net. And that one, he had the whole court open. Mistimed it.
Taking a lot of time to steady at 5-3 and 30 all. Takes a set point. Frank, nearly impossible to get through him at the net when you're the Newcombe's behind the baseline driving.
Well,
nearly
very
impossible.
quick, very quick.
Game. And second set for Connors, 6 games to 3. Love.
They'll take a break after this for sure.
Foul. Love. Love.
I can't get that one.
This is great.
Game Newcombe. He leads 1 game to love.
Very nice playing, boys.
Back in the States, Johnny Newcombe's associates at, what is it, the T-Bar M?
Yes, that's right.
They'll be rather anxiously watching, I should suggest, today to see how the big man, Mr. Newcombe, goes.
And we're going to the States through CBS.
By satellite.
My word.
Well, it's a perfect day here in Melbourne. Temperature would be about 85. As we say in Celsius, about 27 degrees, 28 degrees Celsius. And it's been the best day for tennis of the whole tournament.
You only brought that up to show how clever you are, Frank.
Well, when I go over to the States and talk in Celsius, nobody understands me.
I think we're in for a long day of thrilling tennis. Connors now to serve from the northern end.
Love 15.
Very peculiar looking smash he tries from that baseline.
I'd get rid of that out of his repertoire.
Foul. Love 30.
If Newcombe ever wanted a break, he's got it here. This is the chance he wanted. Love 30, and Connors a little bit hesitant on these 2 points.
Oh, just out.
Out. 15-30.
Superb.
30 all.
Beautiful double-handed volley. Gets right down behind the ball, and he looks so sure with it.
Let.
Connors taking time at 30 all after trailing love 30.
Oh. 40-30.
Jimmy got a good angle on that little passing shot there. Amazing how he controlled that shot.
Connors taking a lot of time, Frank. He slowed off in his service preparation.
Game, Connors, 1 game all.
When he gets behind, he always takes his time. He doesn't hurry the service action. If he's in front, he seems to get on with it, but when he's behind, he likes to take his time, think about what he's doing.
And that's a champion's way of approach too. The more you hurry, the more mistakes, I would suggest.
Newcombe serving, southern end. 1 all in the third.
Love.
Tell you what, if Connors was your rich uncle, you'd be in trouble. He gives nothing away, does he?
Out. 15 all.
Sheer surprise beat Newcombe. I think he'd won the point and couldn't believe he had to play a volley to finish
That's
it.
right.
Just
Well,
a floater.
Actually, Connors was going the opposite way when he served.
Yes. Oh, damn it.
30-15. All.
If there's such a thing as luck in a match like this, in this game, I think that Jimmy is just having a touch of his share. A net cord and a surprised error from Newcombe. So it's 30 all. What a lob, for heaven's sakes.
I can't get that!
40-30.
Quite good.
8 aces. Newcombe.
Game, Newcombe. He leads 2 games to 1.
I think Newt deserves a lot of credit for that game. Things were running against him a bit from 30 love into 30 all. A net cord, a surprising error on his part when he was caught unawares when a ball suddenly shot back at him. But then he pulled out those big serves and the big smash. By gee, he's got a tremendous heart. We commented yesterday when in his semi-final with Tony Roach he was down and saved 3 or 4.
4 match points.
4 match points he saved against Tony yesterday, and he was on his knees literally, and then came back to win at 11-9 in the 5th. A magnificent match.
Colin, and afterwards you remember on the courtside interview I did with him for television here in Australia, and viewers through CBS in America would be interested in this, I said, did you realise you saved 4 match points? He looked at me and said, oh, did I?
He was dazed, wasn't he?
He didn't really know he'd saved 4 match points. He was doing it from heart and memory.
Tony Roach, one of the great competitors in the world, has come back for the benefit of our American viewers. Tony Roach on the comeback trail won one of the major titles in Australia, the New South Wales Championship, only last 10 days ago, and here yesterday appeared likely finalist, as we have just said, had 4 match points on Newcombe. So look out in USA for Tony Roach, the left-hander. He's playing exceptionally well, but he just could not take the last point off this amazing character Newcombe. Connors to serve. It's 1 set all now, and the game score 1-2, 3rd set.
Let. Well. 15 love.
That's right.
15 all.
Cat
30-15.
and mouse.
More like clay court tennis, isn't it?
Well, I think Connors decided, Nuke, if you want it, I'll give it to you. We'll play it that way. And he would not come to the net. He wouldn't try to get to the net.
All.
They're employing a lot of tactics out there, aren't they?
Newcombe trying to break the rhythm of the attack and maybe having a little success. It's 30 all and it's 1-2.
Out. 30-40.
Point for a breakthrough to Newcombe. See what Connors does about it. Wind sprung up just a little stronger then. Probably heard it gusting into the microphones.
Hold it.
Very noticeably, the wind, Michael, just sprang up as you were speaking.
Right. Foul.
For Connors, a danger point, this one. Second service to come, 30-40.
Goodbye.
Out. Yes.
Well, it wasn't a very good volley of Jimmy's. He had a bucket of room and he gave the redoubtable Mr. Newcombe a second go at it.
Advantage server.
Wind will help the swinging service. It's dying down again now as I speak, not nearly as strong as that gust.
Game, Connors. 2 games all. Third set.
It's now a matter, Frank, of which one of the two players will either crack or the other player, the receiver, have some sensational shots. Which one? It's a complete 50-50 guess, isn't it?
A match like this generally hinges on 1 or 2 points, Colin, and sometimes it's luck that.
Love.
Newcombe serving, northern end.
Foul. Love. Out. 40 love. Foul. (40-15).
Newcombe still concentrating on that double-handed side.
Out. Game, Newcombe. He leads 3 games to 2.
Two service breaks in the whole match, which has shown how remarkably these fellas have been serving.
13 games of each, Frank, and they've only dropped 1 in 13. That's pretty good going, isn't it? And there's been very few chances to break, really. The games have been exciting, etc., but I suppose the number of break points that there have been would be on nearly on the well, 10 at the most. We haven't had prolonged games, have we?
No, they've been very short games, and generally the serve has been up most of the time. Newcombe's been doing a good job.
Yes, he is. Backhand, what do you think of it?
Well, he's returning Jimmy's serve quite effectively, and you can see the pattern is that when he returns serve and Jimmy stays back, he then, when Jimmy approaches the net, he just goes for that lob.
He's quite happy to stay on the baseline and get that rally going, maintaining depth. I would think of the baseline rallies, and we've seen about 8 or 10 of them, very protracted ones, Newcombe would have a 7-3 edge.
Well, he's got a great forehand, there's no doubt about that, and he's been hitting his backhand well in the last couple of days.
He stepped it up a lot.
One of our leading football officials here in Melbourne just looked up at me, up to our box here high in the northern stand, above the centre court, and he indicated that the match could go either way. And I think that's a general feeling of people here.
Well, how more level can you get? A service break in each of the first 2 sets, and they're going with service. And now Jimmy has to answer the challenge. He's 2-3, his service to come, and he's serving with, I would think, a slight aid of the breeze from this end, just a fraction his way.
Connors from the northern end. All right.
Love 15.
Dangerous spot to volley unless you hit it extremely hard to the forehand of Newcombe. What's his strength?
I thought that was out.
15 all.
Somebody calling out near one of the microphones, but it looked out from here. It looked a fault from here, and the linesman was quite definite. He's been a regular linesman throughout the tournament, that same gentleman.
I thought it was out.
It's out. (30-15).
Going to get a few of our smart boys calling out if they're not careful. And that looked good.
(40-15).
Umpire should take control of this quickly and stop the noise. So easy for him to speak now. Frank, what do you think?
I thought that last one was a good serve.
Yes, it looked good from here, but admittedly we're further than John Newcombe or the linesman. It's 40-15 to whole service, Connors. Don't tell me he's going to serve a double.
Well, he's won the crowd.
Could cost him a match doing it, but there were just him conduct the crowd then. Stop. There were 2 calls that were doubtful. That's why I think Jimmy took that action. I think the crowd would now like him to win the game. Give him a go. Give him a go. 40-30.
Quiet, please.
Umpire, take charge of the crowd, please.
Shot, Newcombe.
Yes.
Phew, Frank. He's done a very nice gesture to John Newcombe, but he's put himself to juice by possibly doing that.
Well, it's going to make it difficult for Newcombe. If he gets in the same situation, he gets a bad call, and he's got to try and throw a point.
Receiver.
Now let's see what the champion does. Jimmy Connors. Let's not forget he's the defending champion of the Australian title.
Game, Newcombe. He leads 4 games to 2 in the 3rd set.
Didn't enjoy that game, I fear, as a spectator. It was one of those things that the crowd got control of that game, and you said, Frank, 2 points could tell the difference in a match, and there were those 2 line calls of the 2 points.
Right, please.
Newcombe has done nothing wrong. He's done everything in his right. But I'm sorry for Jimmy Connors.
Newcombe serving from the southern end, leading 4-2.
Bob. Out. 15 love.
It's 9th ace, Newcombe. Connors has served 3.
Foul.
Well,
14 love.
And Jimmy Connors definitely off centre at the moment. He's just slugging that shot across court straight to Newcombe's forehand volley.
Foul. 40-15. Foul. Double foul. 40-30.
Jimmy from one foot to the other, concentrating. He's got to get this break back. Can he do it?
Game, Newcombe. He leads 5 games to 2.
Well, there's Jimmy's mother watching up there in the stand. A little anxious at this stage. Because
#1 supporter.
yes, #1 supporter, but believe me, and I say this quite advisedly and with all sincerity, Jimmy's got a lot of other supporters here in the stadium today. They appreciate his great tennis.
Comes back to the rights and wrongs of giving points away, Michael. Frank, you've played in it long enough. I'll accept your comment.
Well, we always felt that you've got to accept the umpire's decision, because if you don't, it could come to a stage when your opponent has to try and give you a point, and it might be a critical position.
30-40. What do you do?
So what do? Can you give a point away, or you just play the umpire's decisions?
But Frank, you have done it.
Yes, but generally, Mike, when you're playing in a big title like this, you generally make an agreement to say, well, all right, we're going to play the umpire's decision, and you've got to take the good with the bad. But we saw there that Jimmy gave the point away. Quite honestly, I thought the first one was a bad decision, but I thought the second one was okay.
Right, Connor serving from the southern end, down 2-5 in the third.
15 love.
And we're nettled again as Jimmy's not wasting. He didn't waste any time, but clobbered. Let's see if he keeps that pace up. Yes, he's in cranky mood.
15 all.
He'll win it or lose it quick, I think, the rest of the set.
$15-30. $30 all. $40-30.
Anticipation was perfect from Connors. Before Newcombe struck the ball, Newcombe was going in retreat, watching the lob.
Foul.
Well played.
Game, Connors. He leads 5 games to 3.
Newcombe, head down, going around in a slow circle.
Newcombe leads 5 games to 3.
And Connors says, it has to be a little bit that the crowd are doing all their best to stick with Jim as well, but occasionally the Newcombe wave rises.
Newk 5-3, serving from the northern end.
Foul.
Second serve, and Connors still stays behind the baseline to return.
Double foul.
Number 5, Mike.
Love 15.
9 aces and 5 doubles, whereas Jimmy Connors has had 3 aces and has not chalked up a double fault.
Love 30.
It's torn out by the roots, isn't it? You go, oh, you can hear the whole feeling of the crowd. I think there's a cheer squad really on this eastern bank for Newk, and they're the ones that are really rooting for him.
Well, this is the first time he's been behind on a serve on a long, long time.
Foul.
Just wide, not by much.
Out.
In trouble now.
Well,
Love 40.
he had the benefit of a kick service that I don't think he deserved getting. He staggered back a return from Connors, and then poor Newk let himself be softballed.
Foul.
Badly wanting one of his big services that just won't come at this critical moment.
$15.40.
Gee, the executives of CBS in America showed great foresight in organising this match. It's a great game of tennis.
Yes, he's come out.
30-40.
Number 10.
When I said they organised this match, they organised to take it, I mean, from Australia via satellite.
Well, this is where he generally produces a big serve.
He's got it, I think. It's going to be out.
Out. Yes.
The fighting qualities of both men down there are to be admired.
Foul.
Connors on his toes, really wanting this point. Yes, Jimmy Boy.
Advantage receiver.
Tears into that shot.
He's broken.
Wow.
Game. Connors.
Now listen to that crowd.
Newcombe leads 5 games to 4.
Fighting quality shown by Jimmy Connors then. Hit some beautiful returns of serve. Although Newcombe served well in the clutch, just mistimed that half volley that popped up just in front of him.
Should it go to the tiebreaker, Frank, which would be at 6-all, and it's looking a distinct possibility again here. Could you see any advantage to either player because of their style of play in a 12-point tiebreaker?
Well, I think probably it would be with Newcombe with that serving. Jimmy on odd occasion stays at the baseline and tries to win points from the baseline, and that is taking a bit of a risk, I feel, in tiebreakers. Whereas if Newcombe gets that serve working,
full bore,
and he wins the points rather easily, well, I think it's his advantage to in the tiebreakers.
Frank, there's little or nothing between the two players.
Oh no, very evenly matched.
You summed it up before when you said luck's going to play a big part in this, the final result of this.
Or it might be luck, it might be just sheer brilliance that does those 2 points at the critical moment. I think Frank's right that it comes a stage you need them. That was a great game, wasn't it, to take it at that stage.
That cross-court double-handed shot, that juice.
He tore it apart, didn't he?
Connors down 4-5 in the third, serving from the northern end. Set each.
Love 15.
Connors settling for the lob suddenly was completely beaten. A beautiful backhand from Newcombe.
Foul.
That's a balloon shot.
Out. Love 30.
Connors has got to fight hard again.
Yes.
See him take his time on these next couple of serves.
Out.
Out. Love 40.
Newcombe 3 set points in hand.
That's it.
He's taken the third.
Game.
Into the fourth.
Love. Foul. Love. Let.
Connors has been hitting that double-handed cross-court. I think he's got to change the direction occasionally, go down the line. Oh, he did.
40 love.
I know what you had in mind though, Frank, that if you could get one, you could plaster it down the line, not just to block one high and floating.
James Newcombe. He leads 1 game to love.
Well, I think we now take a deep breath for Connors on this next game, Frank. I would suggest that if Newcombe could do the miracle shots, this is the one he wants, isn't it?
Certainly is, and we'll be watching the way he handles the server, Jimmy Connors. He's been trying to get that ball, chip it down low and then do that lob. The last game he hit a couple of really good hard backhands too for winners, so Connors has got a lot to think about.
The sporting identities, the application and dedication to a game by these players is in the top echelon, isn't it?
That's important. Connors from the southern end.
Love.
Newcombe played a very innocuous backhand, then he's no chance of getting through Connors that way.
Foul. Love. Foul. Love. Game, Connors, 1 game all.
Very good game by Jimmy Connors, and score goes to 1-1, and a lot of the crowd still coming back into the crowd, caught a little by surprise by the start of the game and not being allowed in, of course, whilst play is in progress.
Newcombe from the northern end.
Love. All. Thirty, 15.
12 aces Newcombe has served. Connors has served 3.
Foul. Out. 30 all.
Newcombe's got that wide serve going like Gonzalez used to hit it. Hitting the line about 2 or 3 feet up from the service line.
Gives him the angle then.
Forty, 30.
It's caused Jimmy a lot of worry, that serve.
Foul. Let.
Never cease to be amazed, Frank, at the power that a fellow like Newcombe puts onto the second serve. You know, instead of worried about a double fault, he's had 5, admittedly. That's all.
Double foul.
Have a guess.
Yes.
He serves the ball very hard, so you've got to expect a few double faults.
Doesn't he serve it hard? The risk he takes.
He's had 6 double faults for the match, and Jimmy Connors has not served 1.
Foul.
Well, he served the deliberate one, but I suppose technically you can count that.
Advantage server.
See, it's that second shot that Connors is not doing enough with. When Newcombe volleys, Connors is not doing enough with that second shot.
Very defensive, isn't it?
Out. Game, Newcombe. He leads 2 games to 1.
By contrast, the lobbing is all in Newcombe's favour. Newcombe.
Mrs. Neville Smith, with your son Chris, is waiting behind me at the player's entrance. Would one of you please go to that entrance? The owner of Rambler Rebel, KXJ918, would you please report to the tournament office?
Newcombe getting that wide serve going very well. The breeze is swinging up a bit, and of course the end that Newcombe was serving from a
Position ready at the southern end as Connors will serve. 1-2, 4th set.
Let. Love.
Looked like a good Newcombe rally, that one, didn't it? And then suddenly he pushed one over the baseline, rather surprisingly. And Connors, a lot of running.
very lucky to get away with that point.
All.
This match is being played in remarkably fine spirit.
Yes.
Credit to both players.
Foul. Out. 30 all.
So hot here in Melbourne, we have a few people who've fainted in the crowd, and the St John's ambulance boys are doing a magnificent job. Full marks to them.
Yes, they are. They're a great service, aren't they?
Foul.
Second ball, big point, right here.
Forty 30.
They've got to get the lady out, and this is a very awkward position from just in front of us as the lady fainted being taken away.
Foul. Yes.
Connors 1-2 and Juice on service. And Newcombe working like a beaver.
Advantage server. Out.
Good game.
Connors. 2 games all.
Nothing much showing up so far in this set, Frank.
No, although Jimmy's having a little trouble holding serve, Newcombe's holding his serves much more comfortably than what Connors is doing.
Sheer pace and accuracy with it, of course.
Newcombe serving from the southern end, 2 all in the 4th. Very nice. That would be his 13th.
15 love.
Did you see the speed with which Connors acknowledged that and walked?
Love. Foul. Double foul. 30-15.
That second serve was almost as fast as the first.
7 double faults and 13 aces chalked up against J. Newcombe.
Foul. All.
Funny game, is it? 30 love, and the next minute you're back to 30 all, and it's in the melting pot.
Well, you've got 2 great players down there, Colin. That's great tennis.
Well, wide to the double-handed side, then with a volley wide to the backhand. No way that Connors can handle that. Flies in the air, which are a darn nuisance, aren't they? Only a few, but they stick with you like glue.
Newcombe. He leads 3 games to 2.
2 years ago, John Newcombe was elated. All he wanted to do really was to win his own country's title, to win the Australian singles title. I think this one means even more to him than that first title here in Australia. To win this one a second time and to win it and beat the champ, I think his cup of joy would be overflowing.
Oh, golly. It would need to be something to surpass his thrill to win his first Australian.
I think it would, though, don't you, really?
Yeah, possibly, Colin. But by golly, he really wanted an Australian title.
Yeah.
He beat Oni Perron of New Zealand, if I remember correctly.
You're right, yes. A courageous fighter. We thought it was a good match, but never reached the heights that we've seen in these 2 games of the Roach, Newcombe, and now the Connors. I was going to comment before, when the play started, and obviously I had to get out of it, was that the 2 years we've watched these Australians and telecast them, I felt the depth and the standard of these been tremendous. I thought even better than this year, Frank. I don't think we had the depth of talent here on the courts, but now we've got the benefit of having the great semi-final followed by the great final, which even is better than anything we've seen.
And so many new faces too.
Yeah.
Like both finals, the ladies and the men's have been international finals.
Well, this is the way tennis is going. It's not confined actually to America and Australia any longer.
Or to 10 or 12 players.
There's great players from all around the world.
Connor's down 2-3 in the fourth, serving from the southern end.
Out. 15 love.
Connors to the backhand of Newcombe. It looks like he's going to work that pattern again hard. Tries one in the centre for variety.
Great stuff. Listen to that crowd.
30 love.
I've never seen a tennis player feeling it long on before.
Out. 40 love.
Now, they serve notice to each other early. If you want a point, you're going to have to fight for it.
Game, Connors, 3 games all.
I think Newcombe will be thankful he had that 10-minute break, Frank. He's flexing his legs, but that 10-minute break should have given him the stamina at least for one more, if not 2 more sets.
Well, he can't falter now. He's got to, if he can keep the serving power going, he's got a real good chance.
Foul.
Beautiful shot, sir.
Love 15.
It's a very rare shot when you think back. There's been very few of those he's played today.
Well, he's been hitting him cross court, and Newcombe's been volleying well off the forehand.
Sitting on him up there. That was a glorious shot. And Newcombe steadies.
Foul.
That second shot again.
15 all.
Yes, you're right, Frank, because he had the opening, didn't he, then? And he pushed straight to it. It was quite a couple of yards to get through Newcombe there.
Thirty 15.
14 aces. Connors has served 3.
Forty 15. Foul. Game, Newcombe. He leads 4 games to 3. Love 15.
We may see a couple more lobs in this game because he's done them so well with such touch. It's worth a try. Love 15 at 3-4.
Love 30.
A stunner.
Out.
Good call.
Love 40.
Jimmy a little upset. He has a signal he doesn't like the crowd, and that's with that racket handle.
$15-40.
This is almost virtual match points, Colin.
You feel that way. Well, that was a good service Frank he did then. See how Jimmy Connors can do a service. He's got 2 game points now facing him. He saved 1 for the break. Good return by Newcombe.
Game, Newcombe. He leads 5 games to 3.
Newcombe flexing every piece of his body working for this one game, the one he wants. He can taste it. Beautiful return, James. Fine.
Love 15.
Where do you serve to Connors when the pressure's on? Do you swing him wide? Do you swing it down the line? What do you do?
Well, I think he's got to do the same pattern as that goes with that double-hander.
Out. Love 30.
Don't say there's going to be an anti-climax now.
Love 40.
You have to be watching it on Channel 7 to believe it. It's happening. It's love 40 now.
Foul.
And Connors just throwing every bit he's got into it.
$15-40.
And the Newcombe fan club saying, come on, John. You can hear them just about.
Foul.
There must be about 1 or 2 miserable flies hanging around Johnny, and he can't get rid of them.
Out.
What a volley.
30-40.
Did you see the speed that Newcombe went back? I have never seen him move faster. He was twinkling back.
But that wasn't... That volley that he made then was a fantastic volley.
It wasn't on, was it? And the crowd erupts with joy.
Yes.
Love 40, back to Juice, and he's within 2 points of match.
Foul.
Good luck, Jimmy.
Advantage server.
Match point,
crowd now will
Quiet,
keep
please.
quiet. Thanks, umpire. Let's get this point. Connors summing up every energy. Can he turn back this amazing Mr. Newcombe?
Foul.
I think he's got it. It's out.
Yes.
And the crowd acknowledge a marvellous effort by James Connors then. It is deuce, and Newcombe has 5-3, 2 sets to 1. He's broken through, and this is now leading into another chance, maybe, for him to win the match.
Foul.
Great lob.
Advantage receiver.
And Newcombe did a roll and tumble, but he fell well, and he's only taking the time that he needs to get himself settled and balanced, because he can't lose this point unless Connors takes it.
What a great lob at that
Oh,
time,
Connors,
critical time.
how's his effort Connors been in this game? And Newcombe's.
Foul.
Well, throws the weights a little bit towards Jimmy, doesn't it? A second service to come.
Game, Connors. Newcombe leads 5 games to 4.
Could any ball be hit harder than that ball then?
I'm stunned, Frank. I am stunned, literally. Poor Newcombe. How do you feel for the man? One match ball he's had, and his volley, which was the winning volley, missed by what? 1.5 inches?
Only a couple of inches, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 inches, but it was floating across, and until it actually hit the chalk, or it missed the chalk, you had hopes for Newcombe he could have got it. And for Jimmy Connors, who theoretically, he had love 40.
Yes.
It got back to deuce with Newcombe playing out of his head, and then it was Connors' turn to play some amazing stuff. And he, with that last shot that Frank said was truly a bullet-like shot, hit with complete abandon for the winner. And now Connors has his service to level at 5-all in the 4th set. It's still a chance for Newcombe, because Connors' serve has been a possibility, would you say, for
Yes.
Newcombe?
He hasn't served well,
He's had one break against him this set. That's a bit of proof on the board.
and Newcombe's been exploiting that lob very well the last game. On Connors' serve, he got that ball over Connors' head consistently. And Jimmy's got to try and get that volley a bit firmer and a bit deeper to stop Newcombe from doing this. But it's been a fantastic match up to the present time.
We'll feel sure that our overseas and our Australian viewers will be appreciating this tremendous match, with a great hand then for Jimmy Connors, who saved a match point on the last service game of Newcombe. Now serves at 4-5 in the 4th set. He trails 1 set to 2. Oh.
15 love. 30 love.
Right back into it, Frank.
Out. 40 love.
And after that first point with a miracle volley from Connors, 2 sloppy shots from John, maybe a little wary, maybe just saving energy.
Game, Connors, 5 games all.
The drama we've seen this week has been just amazing.
Yesterday and today, Frank, it makes you feel very weak at the knees, doesn't it? Men's tennis has been out of this world. It's been great. Newcombe, the server, 5-all, 4th set.
Love.
6 points Connors took in a row there to win the make it 5-4 and then hold service. So Newcombe now has taken a point, the 7th.
Love.
Oh.
40 love. Game for Newcombe. He leads 6 games to 5. New balls, please.
17 service aces to John Newcombe, 2 in a row then, and I suppose most of the crowd are saying, why didn't you do it in the previous game? Would you reckon that'd be the call?
I bet he's saying that to himself.
Well,
it's been a great exhibition of serving.
Oh, yes. Well, you've got to give credit to Connors. We know that he hasn't got as devastating a serve as Newcombe, and he's only had 3 aces, but he's only had 1 double fault, and that's the one he threw away when those line calls upset players a little bit. He literally threw a double fault. Other than that, he has been the model of consistency, and he's held service. What, he's missed 1, 2, he's lost 3 services in the match.
Well, what's it going to be like if Connors holds his serve this time we go into the tiebreaker?
Well, I'm going to sit back and take a couple of deep breaths along with a lot of people. I was watching the crowd, looking at the crowd during one of those rallies, Frank, and earlier Jim Entink, the referee, had requested they keep silent and do not move, meaning do not move between during the rallies or between points, but wait till the end of the game to change and move around. And I think the crowd was stunned. There wasn't a sign of movement as they were glued onto the court. Both players ready to get back into the fray. Jimmy Connors, you can see there, who just unleashed power, moves up, and at the same time John Newcombe at the southern end. And it's now Connors with Newcombe 1 more chance before the tiebreaker. Can Johnny break through? He jogs around, limbers up. A habit of his, that full knee bend. And now Connors to serve.
New balls.
That improves Connors' chance just that little bit.
Foul.
Yeah.
15 love.
Would you suggest that John Newcombe should take courage in both hands and have a go, or get that ball back into play, Frank?
Well, I think he should get the ball back into play because Connors hasn't been doing enough with that volley. He did it then, but that was the first time that he's really put a volley away for a long time.
Foul.
That was a bad return too. It was a high floaty one. Yes, down at his feet. That's what Newk's got to do.
Out.
Good
30
call.
love.
I thought he wasn't going to call it for a while. Oh, he got caught.
30-15.
From a good service, Newcombe played an amazingly good return that floated and dropped. It was a funny ball, wasn't it? And caught Connors quite badly in 2 minds. And a reprieve for John Newcombe as the score is 30-15. The score 5-6 in the 4th set.
$40-15.
Looks like a tiebreaker coming up, Frank.
Then the tension will be on.
Yes, well, we'll just explain a little about the tiebreaker should we get there.
Foul.
Ooh, gently.
Out. Game. Connors. 6 games all. The tiebreaker will now commence.
Frank, please tell me, tiebreaker, how it works.
Newcombe serves the first point, then Connors takes 2, and then they rotate every 2 points after that.
And
Changing ends after 6 points.
and it is a 12-point tiebreaker.
12-point tiebreaker.
Thanks, Frank.
Out. Newcombe leads 1 point to love.
It's been pointed out so often, and we repeat it, that the service is tremendously advantageous in the tiebreaker. So Connors has 2 services now. Newcombe will be striving desperately to get at least one of these 2 points.
Two points to love.
It looks like the down-the-line shot, if he gets half a chance, is the one with Connors guarding the centre. It's love 2 on the tiebreaker.
Newcombe leads 2 points to 1.
Position good for Newcombe right now, Frank.
Right now he's got the slight advantage. By a fraction.
3 points to 1.
Oh dear, that was nearly the lob of all lobs, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
About 3 inches with Newcombe whooping it out.
Let. Newcombe leads 4 points to 1.
Whee!
Connors can't afford to make one mistake here now on these 2 serves.
No,
He's in a very tough situation because he's got to play the point safe. He can't afford to really go for any spectacular shot. Whereas Newcombe can have a go now. He can have a go at this second serve.
Newcombe feeding him the forehand. Look at him opening the whole of the forehand court up and saying, hit it there. It's out.
Out. 2 points to 4.
Frank, I'm starting to feel it in my tummy again. Remember yesterday at the end of that match, I think you were the same, weren't you? You sort of get a sensation of it's got to stop soon. I don't want any more of this. And that rally with Newcombe throwing up 3 lobs and finally one dropping out by about 2 or 3 inches. Previously we saw Connors throw a lob which just went out.
But I didn't like the way Jimmy approached that lob, that smash. I mean, you know, he just was very tentative about it.
Right, it's 2-4. We see one more service coming from Connors, and obviously for Connors it's vital that he holds this point. He must hold this point. He has.
Newcombe leads 4 points to 3.
Jimmy's still got to win 1 point back.
Even John's concentration slightly off centre as he goes to the wrong side. Head down. Right, it's on now. And it's 4-2, 4-3, Newcombe. And Connors is doing the same the other end. Having great fun with the flyer. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. If Newcombe can come up after that shot, he's a genius.
Get out.
Out. Newcombe leads 5 points to 4.
And Connors knows it was out. He's play acting, but well, for heaven's sakes, what, an inch? 2 inches?
It wouldn't even be an inch, I don't think.
Oh dear, oh dear. So Newcombe now, it's 4-5, but the next 2 points are services for Connors. If Newcombe can stagger one of these 2 points, he then sits in a box position for the set. But he's got to get one of these 2. And who blames Connors for taking his time?
It's almost the first time he's gone down the forehand side on that court.
One of the very best services he's thrown into the match, Frank. 5-all in the tiebreaker.
Connors leads 6 points to 5.
Connors doesn't have to win friends at Kooyong, but if ever a man is winning friends, he is with this amazing fight back to the stage. He even has the advantage.
He's
now
got a set point now.
Yes, he has a set point after miraculous shots.
Out. Six points all.
At 6-all, Frank, the story is now that the players change ends without sitting down or taking time. They can tell as they pass the net, and they have to win 2 points clear. Does the player, Newcombe, for example, now stay at the northern end for 6 points?
Yes.
Thanks, Frank. So we're into the advantage part of the tiebreaker. Newcombe has one service that end.
If Newcombe wins this service point, he stands at match point.
And if either player, it's a set point if either player wins this point. Okay.
Oh! Unbelievable.
Connors leads 7 points to 6.
Frank, he's a sensational player. Godfather, he's sensational.
He hooked that ball back. I thought the ball was off the end of his racket.
It was.
And somehow it got over the net for a winner. Set point for Jimmy Connors.
Oh, no! It's Newcombe's turn.
Seven points all. Newcombe leads 8 points to 7.
This is his second set point.
Second match point.
Second match point. Thanks, Frank. Newcombe has
Quiet,
a match
please.
point. Quiet.